communication and resources and safety for a company called U.S. Group. Though they're based in Columbia, I'm very nice. Every one of you has ever heard of U.S. Group. You may have heard of Lake Carolina. That's my company's biggest development. You may have seen what my company did at Fairgrounds parking area recently. That was $4.5 million of work. Building a pretty good parking lot out there with all the trees now, the tailgating. That's us. I teach at College Charleston tonight. How many of you are looking at College Charleston? It's all? I should see more hands than that. We're a great place to get us. We're a great place to spend your parents' money. Please come spend money at our college. I teach in art communication. So typically being an adjunct, I teach kind of bottom of the run class at public speaking. Sometimes I get some detail public relations. I'm also, as this says, I'm also a political blogger. I talk about state politics. Hopefully I won't put you to sleep talking about today. So I wear a few hats, but they all revolve around something called communication. I practice it, I teach it, and then I get on the internet and I do it again. I practice it in different realms. So today we're going to kind of get a little discussion about what we do and kind of lead into some ethical considerations in this thing we call mass media. So what do bloggers do? They stay at home, don't have, live with mom when they're 30 years old, don't have a date, and play on the computer, right? That's a stereotype we have, right? There's another stereotype since we sleep with governors, right? Any of you follow, last year or so of state politics, you may have heard a few things about that. So what do bloggers do? It's okay to say they live with mom, don't have a job, don't have friends, can't get a date, and you have to run around on the computer. How much of that is true? What part of that statement would y'all agree with? All of it, parts of it, tell me which parts. So what do bloggers do? Okay, we write about stuff. Okay, what kind of stuff do we write about?
Anything you want.
And a lot of us specialize in certain fields. Any of y'all read blogs?
No.
What do you read blogs for?
I mean, just different things.
Yep,
Mainly stuff about my car.
You read car blogs?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they written by? Are they written by professionals or are they written by fans?
Kind of a mixture of the two.
What do you think about fan sites? Are they pretty knowledgeable?
They can be helpful, but they're not as credible as professional help is.
So but you can pick up some information there, right?
Right.
But they don't get paid them to do it full-time here today. That's an interest. It's kind of like mine. I've been in state politics since high school. Run everything from city council to statewide races. And then I decided running races was getting old, so I stopped doing it. So I get to talk about it. I'm still pretty politically active, as Kelly will attest. I know many of these people on the wall. Some of them like me, some of them don't like me. What they think of me is not my concern. That I'm right is my concern. So, bloggers, as some of y'all say, we inform you, right? Give you things to think about. Is that important? Do we need information in our lives? We use information to make decisions all the time, don't we? So you talked about something, those perceptions of bloggers just talk politics, and that certainly is a large set. They did a study or two that I read that says a large chunk of blogs talk about politics, but they talk about sports. I said specialize in sports and music and cars and other little categories. Matter of fact, there was I read an interview with John Murray's marketing rep. He says, if I can't get a story about my product in one of the 3 major automotive magazines, I'll go to there are 20 bloggers I'll go to, and they will eat my releases up because somebody gave them time of day. So if the professionals don't cover me, I can get around them. Does that make a statement about how the news media has changed? If a major PR guy thinks that he doesn't have to go to the news media, but he can go to bloggers, does that say that bloggers are pretty influential? What's happened in the Middle East the last few weeks? They're getting along, right?
No.
What happened? And how did it happen? How did all this chaos happen? How did it come about? How did they coordinate? How did they fuel it?
Social network. Social network.
Social networking. So we discovered that thing called Facebook, this thing called Twitter. Wow. I mean, come on. I mean, 30 years ago to topple government, you needed what? You needed special forces training your guys, sneaking your country training your guys, weapons drops, military assistance. That's how we toppled them when I was growing up. We wanted to topple the government of Nicaragua. We sent arms. We sent advisors. We sent training people. Afghanistan, with the Mujahideen, we sent Stinger missiles. Wow. We didn't have to do anything deliberate. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? That guy with the movie Social Network or whatever, whoever thought that he wouldn't just be a computer guru, he might actually be as potent a threat as the entire Department of Defense to dictatorships. That's a hell of a statement, isn't it? So, you're talking these little guys, no weapons, no training, no budgets, no printing presses, no cable networks. Decided they were going to pass some conversation around, and look what happened. That's a statement of how things have changed, hasn't it? We know what happened in the 1500s, the Reformation, the Revolution in Europe, the wars that followed for about 100 years. What was caused by what? A guy named Martin Luther and a guy named Gutenberg. We all knew who Martin Luther was, right? Who was Gutenberg? What did he invent? He invented the printing press. And look what that caused. Look at American history. What was Ben Franklin? Printer, Thomas Paine. So we had a couple of centuries later after that, Americans get all these things in the college called printing presses, and they print up. I mean, common sense that with 2 million copies, they went for like 7 million people in America at the time. And what happened? We broadened the scope of communication, and what was the outcome of that? We had a philosophical discussion. We also had a war. What was the outcome of those two things? The war against our independence and philosophical discussion gave us our republic, didn't it? Because somebody decided to say a few things. Now, I was growing up, we had something called cable television. MTV was new. And then in the late 80s, these people in Poland and East Germany, you heard of East Germany? Used to be this one nation called Czechoslovakia. Now it's not. In what was called the Soviet Union, they started watching MTV. They started wanting to be like the people in the West. They wanted to be successful, free, fashionable. So what happened after a while? What happened? We started pumping that stuff over there, and what did that culture do? They wanted to be free. And what happened to that wall in Berlin? Where did it go? It came down. 6 or 7 dictatorships from Warsaw to East Berlin down to Belgrade, top in a matter of less than a year. What's happening now in the Middle East? This whole belt is on fire, isn't it? Pop culture, communication media in the late 80s, toppled dictatorships. And what's happening now? So we learned that there's some consequences. A thought gets out, but MTV and cable television was good. What did it cost to get into that? Could anybody start up a cable network? Talk about pop culture, make everybody want to have Michael Jackson albums and parachute pants and big hair and revolution. It took a lot of expense, right? How much does Facebook cost? How much does Twitter cost for somebody to use it? So if we're talking something that anybody can use and they're using,